our whole life starts from a single cell and then we develop into such a complex creature. Okay, so embryology is very important. How we start from journey of this whole one cell, and then we are born as a newborn child. So in this topic we will be talking about the journey of the ear, and specifically only the external ear. ठीक है, ये बहुत मुश्किल था टॉपिक, इवन फॉर मी टू मेक नोट्स एंड मेक इट वेरी कंसाइज. तो मैंने क्या किया हुआ है कि बहुत कम स्लाइड में उसको मैंने रखा हुआ है. वी विल नॉट बी गोइंग इन टू मच डेप्थ. वट एवर इज इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर अस टू अंडरस्टैंड I have given. Okay, if you want to know more, then I have put it in the notes. Okay, but right now we will focus on only understanding the concept. Once you understand the concept, then you can build more onto it. Okay, so a lot of pictures and videos I have put so that it becomes very easy to understand. यहाँ पे एक चैलेंज हमारे लिए है कि वी एम्ब्रियोलॉजी वी नो टू सम एक्सटेंट बिकॉज यू हैव स्टडीड इन द 12th टू सम एक्सटेंट, थोड़ा बहुत है, लेकिन देर लॉट ऑफ टर्म्स विच वी डोंट यूज़ इट ऑफन, ज़्यादा हम यूज़ नहीं करते हैं, तो हमारे लिए कुछ टर्म्स नए होंगे. ठीक है, सो वी विल गो स्लोली वन स्लाइड एट अ टाइम एंड देन वी विल अंडरस्टैंड एग्जैक्टली. जहाँ जहाँ मुझे लगेगा कि इट इज़ बिकम लिटिल फास्ट, आई विल गो बैक एंड रिपीट दो स्लाइड्स. ठीक है, बट प्लीज़ गेट दिस कॉन्सेप्ट राइट नाउ क्लियर बिकॉज आफ्टरवर्ड्स you will not, you can't refer anything anywhere and then you understand to understand. If you understand it right now, then only you will understand. Otherwise, it is difficult to understand this topic. Okay, so let's start. So before going into the depths of embryology, it's important to know the basic anatomy. Okay, so till now you may or may not have gone through the basic anatomy part of the ear, but यहाँ पे हम डिटेल में नहीं जाने वाले. दिस वी आर लर्निंग बिकॉज हमें जानना है कि एग्जैक्टली हम क्या सीखने वाले हैं. So इसमें as you see there are three parts of the ear. One is outer ear. Let me change the thickness and the color. Okay, so outer ear is the one. Okay, outer ear has two parts. One is pinna and another is ear canal. So pinna is this what we see from outside, and there is a canal which connects the pinna with the tympanic membrane. This is the tympanic membrane, कान का पर्दा. यहाँ से शुरू होता है. आफ्टर टिम्पैनिक मेम्ब्रेन स्टार्ट्स द मिडल ईयर. ओके, मिडल ईयर में क्या आएगा फिर? टिम्पैनिक मेम्ब्रेन, मिडल ईयर बोन्स एंड दिस होल मिडल ईयर कैविटी. ओके, एंड देन कम्स आफ्टरवर्ड्स द मिडल ईयर connects with the inner ear. Inner ear will have the cochlea, this snail like structure, semicircular canal which is important for the balance, and nerve, and then the brain. ठीक है, इन दिस टॉपिक हमारे लिए सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरी है कि वी विल बी लर्निंग डेवलपमेंटल एम्ब्रियोलॉजी फॉर टू पार्ट्स. वन इज पिन्ना, ओके, अनदर इज ईयर कैनल. दैट्स इट, बिकॉज दीज टू कंबाइन मेक्स द आउटर ईयर और एक्सटर्नल ईयर. सो द टॉपिक नेम इज एक्चुअली द एम्ब्रियोलॉजी ऑफ द एक्सटर्नल ईयर, डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द एक्सटर्नल ईयर. ठीक है, बट रियली टू गो इन टू द डिटेल्स वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड some basics of embryo. Okay, so थोड़ा basic concept में जाएंगे. We will understand what is pharyngeal arches and some parts of it, and then we will see कि how first the canal develops. ये पहले पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, first one is canal and second one is pinna. Okay, and then we will see few examples कि what happens if there is no proper development. Okay, चलो let's start with the some basics of embryology. So embryo development, as you already know, you've seen in 12th science, is starts from a fertilized egg. Okay, and then slowly it gets complicated, complex. You know how it works, 2, 4, 8, and then all this formation, and then around 38 to 40 weeks it becomes a fetus. Okay, we don't have to know the names of the stages right now. Now there are some important terms which we must know. Is first is, you will always hear this term called gestational age. Now it is very important, whenever अगर हम सारा पढ़ रहे हैं जस्ट एम्ब्रायोलॉजी, तो suppose we say I am 20-year old. 20-year old, how it is calculated? It is calculated from the date of your birth, right? From that it is calculated. So we have a reference point for a date of birth, right? Similarly, we also want a fixed reference point for a fetus development, for embryonic development, to study all those things. Okay, so how it is calculated? It is calculated from the first day of the last menstrual period, okay, and not the date of conception. Okay, this is not when she is conceived, it is from the last day of the menstruation. So for example, let's take an example. Now suppose this is 2 months, July and August. Okay, the last, so always gynecologists ask, whenever the woman asks about the about the pregnancy, when was the last menstrual period happened. So one is, suppose she has a cycle of around, she had a menstrual cycle at around 5th of July. Okay, but she got conceived, means male and female intercourse happened at the, suppose take the date of 20th July. This is July. Okay, and in August she did testing, pregnancy test. Now suppose August 5th is the pregnancy test she did, and she found she is pregnant. Okay, now how gestational age calculated? It is not calculated from this date when she was conceived. Okay, it will be calculated from the last menstrual cycle, so it becomes 1 month. Okay, logically it might sound a little different, but that's the reference point which is taken. Even if she is sure that she got conceived on 20th, but for the calculation purpose, it is always from the last menstrual period date. Okay, now typically a pregnancy lasts between say 38 to 40 weeks, which roughly comes around 9.5 months. And the healthcare providers use gestational age, which is very important, to monitor the fetal growth, schedule a prenatal test, and determine the timing of the delivery. Then they say, okay, this can be the probable date of the delivery. Okay, so I hope this is very clear, because in future you will be hearing this term a lot: gestational age, 5th week of gestational age, 6th week of gestational age. Then you should be able to take these references that it is from the last menstrual date. Okay, so we will go into the now some details of terminologies of pharyngeal arches. It is very easy, it is just new, so take some time to understand, to download in your memory. Okay, now this is how it looks. It's like a prawn fish. Okay, prawns you eat, right? So they know how it looks, right? So it looks like a prawns fish. Now if you see, these are called as pharyngeal arches. For us, that is the most important. So here if you see the number 1, see the 1, then 2, then 3, 4, then you will not see 5, you will directly see the 6th one. So there are total 6 pharyngeal arches. Out of that, the 5th one gets vanished over the period of time. Okay, it becomes obsolete. Initially it is there, but it is there for a very short period. I mean, like before the age of 5th gestational age, that goes vanished. So there are 6 numbers of there are 5 numbers, but the last one is numbered as 6th. Okay, so this side will become a head side. This is a neural tube which develops into the spinal cord. These are the pharyngeal arches. This will develop into the heart. This is aorta and umbilical artery and all those things. See, for us, what is the most important part is this. Okay, because now we are talking about the head, development of the head. We're talking about the ear. We're talking about the next in speech we will be talking about the larynx. So mostly this is a part important for us. We will not be talking about the remaining other part. Okay, now we will go details of these pharyngeal arches. Okay, here you pay attention. This is very important. Nah? Next slide will be very, very important, because these are the terms which are very important to understand. Oh, I can zoom it also. Very good. So I just zoomed it for better understanding. See, pharyngeal arches. Now, just to give reference, as we have seen the planes of reference, right, in anatomy, like that, similarly, in embryo, there's a plane of reference which is cranial, that is head. Okay, that will become somewhere in the top. Here, this will be the head, and then comes the caudal or a tail. Okay, and this is called a craniofacial axis. In between, if you make the center, it becomes the craniofacial axis. Okay, so here, this is the frontal view of the embryo of week 3. This is neural tube and lateral axis. So if we take the prawn fish and hold it in the center of front, then we can see this type of vision, this type of view. So that's the frontal view. Now if you hold the embryo on the side and we see the side, then it becomes the lateral view. Okay, whatever views are shown is around 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, now this part, when we take the section like this section, which is a cut section view of embryo along the pharyngeal arches. So we know the pharyngeal arches. Now we have taken this cut section here. So this upper part is removed, right? So this is like this. You take a cut, this part you take it out. Then how we will see from the top is this whole thing. Okay, I'll repeat this once again. So we already have this embryo. Okay, so we have the embryo. Now we take this section, cut section, we remove this top, and now from the top view we will see, then we will see something like this. Okay, now we will go into the details of the pharyngeal arches. Can I zoom it more? Oh, awesome. See, in the pharyngeal there are few important terms. Again, I will show all the pharyngeal arches here, which we saw in the previous slide. So we total saw 5 pharyngeal arches, right? So this is the one, the first pharyngeal arch. I need to change the color. Okay, fine. First pharyngeal arch, second arch, third arch, fourth arch, and as I told you, the fifth arch gets obsolete. It was there. It gets obsolete by the 5th week. It gets vanished. So we have a 6th arch. So total 5. Okay. Now there are important terms. One is the cleft. What is a cleft? Now this is a cleft. The cleft is nothing but it's a depression between the arches. Okay. Only thing is it is external. So if it is external depression, we call it as cleft. If it is internal depression, then becomes a pouch. Okay. So similarly, the first cleft will become into first and second arch. The second cleft will become into second and third arch. So again, I'll repeat. It's a depressions, okay, between the first and the second arch. So if the cleft is the depression is from outside, it is called as cleft. If depression is inside, it is called as pouch. Okay. For us, the most important part in the ear right now in this topic will be these 3 things. First arch, okay, first arch, then second arch, and the first cleft. Okay, so we learned these few things. One is pharyngeal arches. Okay, then how many arches are there? Then cleft. What is cleft and what is pouch? Okay. Now in these arches there are different layers. So one is outer ectoderm layer, which is blue in color. This one. This is outside color. Outside. This is called ectoderm. You have studied this actually. Ectoderm, endoderm, mesoderm. This is not new for you. Okay. So these are layers of the embryo. So this is outer layer. It's called, which is blue in color. Middle layer is mesoderm, which is red in color, and the inner ectoderm, which is green in color. Okay, so these are the three different layers. Why this is important? Because these layer forms different organs. Okay, by the age of 9 months, these layers will develop into different organs. Now we will go in little detail, which is not required right now, but you will see the openings of the artery, blood supply is important, the nerve supply is there, the cartilage is also there. There are different nerves which are shown. Okay, this will not be required right now. For us, the only important thing is this part, all these terminologies. I hope this is very clear for you. First cleft, second cleft, first arch, second arch, ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm. Okay. Now we will see what these layers will develop into which all types of organs. Why it is not going ahead? Okay, need to this. Okay. So in pharyngeal arches, this is the same picture, but it is just a different. Just even close up view, and you will see these five arches: 1, 2, 3, 4th and 6th. 5 doesn't form; it regresses. Okay. Now we talked about the three layers. So one is arch. It is mesoderm. So by fourth of fifth week, what are the organs that are formed because of this is bones, muscles, nerves, and vessels. So all these parts of the body or important structures of the body are actually formed from the mesoderm. No need to buy heart right now. Okay, this is just again for your understanding. Now the ectoderm. Okay, ectoderm is this part will form what? Ectoderm will form the skin. Okay, so because it is already outside. So ectoderm. And endoderms, which is the deepmost inside, what will form? It will form the glands. Okay, so the other things again, if you go into detail, see, you understood. So we were talking about the layers. Okay, now we understood from mesoderm what are things formed from ectoderm and the endoderm. Now we will go into particularly what does the first one, second one, third one, fourth one, or sixth one, what it will contribute to, which organ will come out of this every pharyngeal arch. Okay, so first one is the first is called as, so every arch also has a name. Okay, so the first one is called as a mandibular arch. Okay, now why it is called as mandibular arch? Because it mainly contributes in development of the mandible. You know this bone, this is called as a mandible. Okay, so this helps in development of the mandible, so it is called as mandibular arch. At the same time, it also will help in development of few structures of the ear. First arch, which is called as mandibular arch, helps in development of a mandible, also the parts of the ear, specifically external ear, we will see that. Okay, the second one is called as hyoid arch. Second and third actually both contribute for the, there is a bone, there is a hanging bone in the body. This is the only bone which is not connected with any other bone. Okay, so it's a hyoid bone. Then comes the fourth one is the thyroid. Okay, which is for larynx, and sixth one is also for cartilage of larynx. We will not go right now. Our important thing is first only mandibular arch. Okay, so understood, first is mandibular arch. Now we will go into understanding of the how the external ear, specifically ear canal, is developed. Pinna we will see later. First we will see the ear canal. Okay, so we will see development of the ear canal. How this tube like a structure which is hollow from inside is developed. Okay, Now you have already understood the arches. Now in arches, the first pharyngeal arch, see this is again. Now one more terminology you will see this. First pharyngeal arch has two swellings. Swellings means you can say outgrowth or protrusion or branch. You can't call branches, but kind of two outgrowths it has. One is maxillary outgrowth and one is mandibular swelling. Okay, so maxillary swelling and mandibular swelling. The pharyngeal arch is one. Okay, out of from the pharyngeal arch, you can imagine there is already an arch. Okay, so as there is something structure like this. Now in this also, after a point, it is one is maxillary and another is mandibular. Okay, max and mandibular. So there are two swellings. Okay, and we have also learned the first pharyngeal cleft. Okay, so cleft we already learned. So first pharyngeal cleft will come in between the first pharyngeal arch and second pharyngeal arch. Okay, so we now in this slide we again learn two new important terms, which is maxillary swelling and mandibular swelling. Now for our ear canal, what is the two important structure is mandibular swelling. Okay, external ear mainly develops, external whole ear, pinna and these things develop from the mandibular swelling and first pharyngeal cleft. Okay, means there is a contribution of the first pharyngeal arch, but which part of first pharyngeal arch is the mandibular swelling part of the first pharyngeal arch and the first pharyngeal cleft. ज़्यादा हो रहा है, it's too much नहीं ना. So by 4th and 5th week, okay, by 4th or 5th week, we get to see these pharyngeal arches develop. The first pharyngeal cleft also gets developed. Okay, now how the development starts we will see. Now here you see, here this opening is there. Okay, this one. So what is this? This is between the maxillary arch and the, okay, I'll repeat this for you, 1 second, don't worry. This is how you can see the canal is getting formed. Okay, so there is a depression, okay, I'll remove this. So you will see in this video what is happening is you will see the same structure. Okay, the maxillary arch and the first pharyngeal cleft. Okay, so I'll go the, sorry, I'm so sorry, mandibular swelling. So this mandibular swelling and the first pharyngeal cleft. So here somewhere, okay, this one. Now there is the depression is formed and that creates a something called as meatal plug. See, this is a meatal plug. Okay, see, there is depression which is formed here, right? And now that depression, how it extends into the meatal plug, not the ear canal. Okay, ear canal is different. We will see when it is called as ear canal. Right now, by the 8th week, what is happening? There is a depression which is created here, and that is developing into a meatal plug extension inside towards the center. Now see, now this is like we are taking the top view of the same pharyngeal arch. See, from inside you can see these ones. Meatal plug is getting extended. Yeah, so these ones, right? Okay, so mainly when it comes to auditory canal, external auditory canal, there are two phases. In the first phase, what is happening is from that depression between the arch and the cleft, there is extension of the development of the meatal plug. This is called as meatal plug. Okay, by the 8th week. Now in second stage, what happens is this meatal plug, which is actually thick, it's filled already, mostly by the bony tissue, what happens? There is the canalization. What is canalization? It is nothing but there will be empty hollowing part which is right now it is filled. The whole thing is filled. Okay, let's take the blue color. This is filled one, right? This is filled. Now after some time, there is now this emptiness happens because canals are empty, right? So there is only the air. Okay, so this is called as canalization. So there are two stages. One is the meatal plug is formed, and at second stage there is a canalization. Understood? Okay, once quick revision we will take in this again. Okay, again we will see. So we already have, very quickly, I will not be playing video. So we already know first pharyngeal arch. Okay, in that first pharyngeal arch, a part of first pharyngeal arch is mandibular swelling. Okay, and we already know the first pharyngeal cleft. Cleft is nothing but the depressions between the arches. Now here somewhere, again I am highlighting the red color. So here this depression will create a meatal plug inside. Okay, again I'll play the video. See, this depression inside will extend into a meatal plug by the 8th week. This is the top view of the pharyngeal arches. So this is getting extended inside. Okay, where it will touch and all we will see. Right now we are not going into cochlea and all other things, semicircular canal. We are checking only ear canal. Okay, this is getting extended. Okay, now here this is right now thick, it's filled. The metal plug is formed, it's filled with the substance. Now canalization is nothing but it's like getting a hollow. Then the filled substance is actually coming into the becoming a hollow. So these two stages are important for the creating a canal. Okay, now we will see the development of the pinna. Okay, or a auricle. In this, what happens? The important term to know is hillocks. By 5th or 12th week, okay, hillocks are formed. What is hillocks? Hillocks is nothing but.
So again here.
One second. Okay, now let's see hillocks.
So again here is the pharyngeal arches, and here you can see the external auditory meatus is there. Here it is, this hole is leading into the external auditory meatus. Now around this hole, within the first and second, not sex, second, first and second pharyngeal arch, we have the swellings, 6 swellings developed. These are called auricle hillocks. Let me show you. So you see these blob like swellings, these blob.
Yeah, so what is happening in this cleft and the arches, between the arches 6 swellings are developed. Okay, initially they are horizontal in nature. The swellings is nothing but outgrowths of the arches itself. Okay, they are horizontal, 3 on the second pharyngeal arch, 3 on the first pharyngeal arch. Okay,
Like swellings 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 swellings on the first pharyngeal arch and 3 on the second pharyngeal arch. These swellings develop, and these swellings, the auricular hillocks, they ultimately form the pinna of the ear.
okay. Now these 6 swellings form the pinna. But see, our pinna doesn't really look like the 6 swelling horizontal swellings, right? So actually there is a transition, right? Right now, initially they are horizontal, then they start changing their positions, and we will see how these positions will change.
So again,
This is how it is, right? So initially it is horizontal completely, but slowly the positions, the one will come here, the 2, then 3, 4th will go inside, 5th and 6th. Okay, and then this pinna will get developed. The first one has gone here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So these are called 6 hillocks. Okay, then they create different parts of the pinna or auricle. Okay, so when we talk about development of pinna, it's very easy. There are 6 hillocks formed. okay, between the first pharyngeal arch and the second pharyngeal arch, 3 on each. Afterwards they fuse and they create a pinna. Which pharyngeal arch, like which hillock will form which part of the pinna, that I'll put in the notes, that we will not go in detail right now, because that you just have to by heart then. Okay, understood? So very easy. If you understand the basics, I have put it in such a way that you should understand it very easy. Okay, I hope these are clear for you. So if we just go in the short timeline, so by pinna is develops by the 5th or 12th week, and which is coming from the first and second arch, while from the first pharyngeal cleft we are getting the external auditory meatus. By 5th, it develops between 5th and 28th week. By the way, the canal continues to develop by the age of 12 years, around 12 years. It goes on increasing in size, and also the pinna. The eardrum, right now we will not go into it, but that is formed by the age of 8 or 16 week of gestational age. Okay, I hope these two structures are very clear for you. One is external auditory canal, which we saw first. There is a formation of the meatal plug, and there is a canalization, 2 stages. Here in pinna there is a hillocks formation, 6 hillocks formation that develops into different parts of the pinna. Okay, now we will see, because see, it's such a beautiful natural journey of the cells that develop into such a complex structures. Sometimes it is possible that they may not form the way it should happen, it should have formed, right? So there can be some anomalies, so we call it birth defects or congenital. Congenital means since birth there are some issues. So we will see a few of them right now with respect to the auditory external ear. So one of them is microtia. Micro means small. Okay, so small ear, the pinna is small, like something like this. So what has happened is the hillocks fusion is failed, right? So we understood, right, these 6 hillocks, right? So somewhere when they are fusing, the fusion did not happen the way it should happen, and then there is a problem with microtia. My problem of microtia has aroused. At the same time, there is also, I don't know if it is not okay, there can be anotia. Anotia means the complete absence of pinna itself. Okay, there can be just a small opening, or there also it can be fused. So we will not say pinna itself. Okay, that is also possible. Then something called as atresia. Atresia is, see, we talked about the canalization of the meatal plug, right? So this meatal plug, so in case it didn't get canalized, then what will happen? Then it will remain this like a kind of a bony outgrowth. The sound will not pass through it. Then it is called as atresia. Okay, there is no ear, so everything other thing intact. So the inner ear is intact, the middle ear is intact, and bones are there, pinna is there, but the canal is not formed. It's called atresia. Okay, and there can be preauricular sinus, preauricular sinus. Preauricular, as the name suggests, the auricular and the front of auricular. Pre is kind of like front or ahead or before. So before the auricle, there is a small sinus which is created. Hillock migration defect. Again the same, migrations are not happening. One of the patient I have seen is, there can be some infection which goes inside, and then it is very difficult to remove the infection. So that is the problem that the child can have. Then there is something called syndromes. What is syndrome? Basically, when more than one type of organ are affected since birth, okay, and they are clustered in nature, they always happen together, then we call it as syndrome. Okay, so for example, here is the Treacher Collins syndrome. Okay, so typically there are 3 types of defects that can happen. One is eye with a downward slant. You can see the slant is downward, right? So here, yeah, you can see like this, the eyes, it's a downward slant, this happens. So there is a problem with the eye. Also small and flattened cheekbones, right? the cheekbone also has the issue. Okay, then the jaw also is angled, so it will not be like the straight like us. It will be more of towards the posterior. There will be angle to it, right? And also the oddly shaped, that is microtia, will also happen. Along with that, there can also be the cleft palate. So you see the combination of the issues, right? So mostly they happen in the cluster. So this is called as a Treacher-Collins syndrome. Okay. So in clinic you might see the child. You should be able to identify which type of the syndrome the child has. Okay. Then we also have in syndromes the golden hair syndrome. So in this mainly three things happen. Two are related with the eye. The limbal dermoid. Limbal dermoid is nothing but there is a outgrowth. It's a benign outgrowth. It's a non-cancerous outgrowth, and generally it is by birth the child has. Okay, so this limbal dermoid it is called as. Then the precursor sinus tags are there. So this we can see. This is related to ear, and also the true eyelid coloboma. So basically you see the eyelid itself is a missing. Some part of the eyelid is missing. The skin is not completely formed. That is called as a coloboma. Eyelid coloboma. Okay. So this is also golden hair syndrome. So that's all about the development of the external ear. If you have any doubt, please put it. How I hope you understood the topic. It is little difficult. Go slow with the topic. See it once again to understand it. Don't go into the by hearting things right now. You can by heart them afterwards from the notes. Focus on only understanding the concept. If you still have a doubt, put it in our this form which is shared. Okay, and we will discuss this in the next video. Okay, if you have any doubts. Thank you so much. See you in the next lesson.